I know you make effort to listen to these sermons. You come along to sermons and you find the time to listen to them again and again. But going on this path in the Dhamma is not easy, is it? It's really difficult, isn't it? It's pretty difficult, right? Is it not difficult? You have to attend to your family, your husbands, your wives, your children, pay the bills, right? Pay the mortgage, pay rent, go to work, satisfy your boss. So much to do. Go shopping, get your car serviced. All these things that you have to do. And on top of all of that, you have to attain Nibbana. So much stuff to do, right? Where have we got the time to attain Nibbana? There's so much to do already. There may be times in life where you feel this way. This is why I want to tell you this story. So a lady came to meet me, I think it was Monday. She came with her 15-year-old daughter. So the news that she was coming was passed on to one of our Dayaka Mahatyas. And what he informed me was that a mother's going to be coming to see you, Swami Nohansa, and she's going to be coming because her daughter is depressed. Her daughter's depressed. There are a number of reasons why she's depressed, but one of the reasons is because she's overweight. She's obese. Do you know what obese is, Buddha? Fat. Very fat. Okay, that's what obese is. When you're overweight, pretty much. There's a certain weight that you should be for your height. When you exceeded that amount, then medically it's called being obese. Okay? So, this is why this daughter is depressed. So I said, okay, I'll speak to her because apparently she wants to commit suicide. Because she's obese, because she's overweight. So this is what I was informed of. So after alms in the afternoon, I went into the Dharmashala and then I was looking for a mother with an obese daughter. So I was walking around trying to find this couple. A mother and a girl who I expected to be quite fat. So I'm walking around looking for this. I'm not seeing it. And then a lady approached me and she said, Swami Nohansa, we are the mother and daughter that came from Kandy, because they've come all the way from Kandy. And I said, are you the mother with the daughter who has a problem? Yes. Where's that daughter? Her. I said, oh, I thought she was going to be obese. I was expecting a baby elephant. What you brought with you is a beautiful girl. What's wrong with her? There's nothing wrong with her. I said, when she says, Swami Nohansa, well, yes, that is one of the problems. Please, would you mind coming and talking to us? I said, okay, let's sit down. So we sat down and we started to talk. Now, that's only part of the story. But what I want you to do is listen to this story that this mother related to me and see if you feel that practicing the Dhamma, listening to sermons, following this path of the Dhamma is challenging despite this, the obligations, the duties and the chores that you have in your life. I want you to listen to this story and consider where you are compared to this mother, this lady. Okay? So I said, why don't you tell me your story and start from the beginning? She said, when she was a young girl, she always thought that she was not in the right body. She thought that she never wanted to be a girl, she said. I wanted to be a man, a boy. So she'd gone and spoken to her grandmother and asked her, Archie, what should I do to become a boy in my next birth? And Archie had said, her grandmother had said, 2 things, Puta. 1, listen to your parents. Never speak up to your parents. Always be obedient to your parents and do as they say. Number 2, don't have affairs with boys. Don't start affairs with boys if you want to be a boy in the next birth. So this is what this grandmother had advised this young girl. Now, because she was so determined that she'd never wanted to be a girl again, she wanted to be a boy in her next birth, she decided, right, that's it, from this day forward, I will be absolutely obedient to my parents. So if you want to be a boy again in your next births, this is what you need to do, okay? Be obedient to your parents and what else? Don't have affairs. Beg your pardon? I'm talking about the next birth. So this is what the grandmother had advised this young girl. So she'd kept to her promise, and the grandmother has said, don't start affairs. One day your parents are going to find a suitable partner for you, and then you can get married off to that man. Don't go looking for partners, because otherwise you're not going to be able to be born a boy in the next birth. So she'd kept to that. So she wasn't interested in writing love letters or anything like that. She'd kept to her word, and she spent her life like that. So as she went into adolescence and then into young adulthood, it was time to marry her off. So, and I sought her permission before I relate this story to you, so she said, absolutely fine, go ahead, Swaminatha. So I have her permission to give this story to you. So, when the time was right, her parents found her a suitable man. So he was a young, good-looking man, and he was a good professional in society. He worked in the police, in the Sri Lankan police. So an officer in the Sri Lankan police. Now, they got married, and remember, this was not a love marriage, but one that was decided, arranged for the lady, for this girl, by the parents. Now, over the course of time, she began to realize that this man hadn't married her for anything else other than her money. She comes from a wealthy family. They've got lots of properties and land in parts of the country, and this man had married her not for anything else but for her money. That soon became obvious, a few years into the marriage. So, this man also had another pretty bad habit. He was addicted to drinks, alcohol. So, in his addiction, he began to spend a lot of time outside, not at home, with his friends, drinking after work, and sometimes whiling away the hours and staying after work for many hours, going clubbing and going to pubs and things like that, and staying out during ungodly hours, and sometimes coming home at the break of dawn. So he began to get used to that kind of behavior. Now this woman, she tolerated all this. She realized that this is her destiny, and she tolerated this. Yes, there were times when they had brawls at home, they had fights at home, and sometimes she would shout at the man, you shouldn't be doing this, behave yourself, this is how you treat me. But during that time, about 10 years into their marriage, she got to listen to the Dhamma. She got to listen to Guru Swamin Wahanse's CDs and the Dhamma that was on there. And one of the sermons that she got to listen to was the sermon titled, you know it, Sasara Ganudenu. Sansarik debts. The debts that we owe to other people in our journey in samsara. And how in our life it's now time to pay back for all the good and bad that we've done to other people. So she got to listen to that sermon, and then from that day forward, she decided, no, I will be the better person. Whatever you throw at me, I will accept it. I'm not going to fight back. I'm not going to say a word to you. I'm not going to speak up to you. If you want to drink, I will help you to recover yourself when you have a hangover. I'll help you with that, but I'm not going to speak up to you. But through his addiction, he wanted this lady to start to sell her lands to feed what? This drinking habit. Because the money that they had in real cash began to run out pretty soon because of his drinking habit. And now this man wanted this woman to start selling all her properties. So one by one, the lands that they owned, they began to sell. And all the money that they earned, the most of it, this got into this man's hands. he was pretty adamant at home. You're my wife, I am your husband, and it's you have to look after me. All this property, it belongs to both of us now. It's not just yours. Maybe that you brought it when you got married to me, but now it's our property. So I have every right that you do. So now he's feeding his drinking habit by selling off her lands. This continued again for several years, until all their land was sold except for the only land that she has still to her name, and that is the land on which there's a house in which she lives. This is all now she has left. Everything else has been sold off, and the money spent on feeding this man's drinking habit. Now, if you thought that was bad enough, this man became quite aggressive. Something that drinking does to most people. It made him pretty aggressive. Sometimes she says, when we go shopping, sometimes in the market, at the market, if he decides that I want to buy something at the market, and he would ask me for money, come on, give me money, I want to buy this. And she would say, sorry, Mahattaya. This is how she addresses her husband. Mahattaya. Ape Mahattaya. In English, that would mean something like, yes, dear, my dear, or something like that. So very lovingly, not in a harsh way, in a very loving and caring manner. Ape Mahattaya salli ne. We don't have any more money. You know what he would do? In the middle of the street, in the middle of the market, he would hit her. He would hit her. Shout at her. Scream at the top of his voice. Swearing at her. Using all kinds of harsh words. Reminding her of her parents. You daughter of a... You can fill in the rest. This is how he would shout at her in the middle of the street, in the presence of many hundreds and thousands of other people, onlookers, just watching, mesmerized by what's going on. But it's not her who lifted her voice to say one word. Why? Sasara Ganudenu. She realizes all of this are dues that I owe you, my dear husband. So I will tolerate everything you have to say to me. And she did so. The abuse didn't stop outside. If that was how much abuse she had to bear on the outside, imagine what the abuse was like at home. Imagine what the domestic violence, the domestic abuse was like. And women, if you think your husband's raising your voice is pretty serious, put this into perspective. Husbands, if you think your wife shouldn't have spoken to you like that, put this into perspective. Children, if you think your parents shouting at you is pretty mean, they shouldn't have done that, put this into perspective. See where you are. This is why I said, the Dhamma has to be practical. This is how you check where you are on the Dhamma. Not by how much you know. That's nothing. How much you know means nothing. Absolutely nothing. You may be able to recite the Paticca from top to bottom and from bottom to top in reverse order. Means nothing. You may have by-hearted the entire Tripitaka. Means nothing. You have not taken a modicum of what the Dhamma is. The Dhamma has to be practical. In the face of vicissitudes of life, when such problems come in your way, how do you face them? Because what is Nibbana? Ragake, Deshake, Mohake. It's the extinguishing of desire, aversion and delusion. That is the acid test of Nibbana. If in the face of the world, you feel the fire of desire burning your heart, you have failed the test of Nibbana. If when people shout at you, they blame you, they scold you, they yell at you, they make false accusations, and that agitates you, annoys you, frustrates you, and you think, I'm going to have a go at you today, you have failed the acid test of Nibbana, because that is not what Nibbana is. Ragake, Dveshake, Mohake, that's what Nibbana is. So compare yourself to how this lady leads her life. So that was the abuse on the outside. At home, oh God. Sometimes she says, my husband would come home, a drunkard. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know top from bottom. Sometimes he would hit me on my face, slap me repeatedly for no obvious reason. Just hit me for the sake of it. You know, there's a word for female dog, right? In Sinhala. He would use that word at her and say, you, and then slap her. Why? No reason, no obvious reason. Sometimes if she comes and gives him a cup of tea after he's come back home from work, and if it's too hot, come here, you slap. If it's not hot enough, come here, you slap. See where you are. How would you be able to tolerate if such a thing would happen to you? But she does not speak one word against him. Not one word. Plenty of days she's cried in bed, not because of mental pain, physical pain. She couldn't bear the pain. She tells me on some days, after he's been working after he spent a long day at work, he used to come home and he's got a big belly. So she describes her husband, a big belly, and he's pretty overweight himself. So sometimes he comes home and complains about leg aches and pains. My feet are swollen. And without even him having to ask her, she would come and put his legs on the table, on a footstool, and start massaging his legs. And again, even when she's doing that, if he feels it's too painful, she would push her away, kick her away. You fill in the word. Starts with a B. Is this how you massage me? Put yourself. How practical is the Dhamma in your lives? You know, we speak of Arahatun Wahanses, right? And we try to make heroes out of them. Put Arahatun Wahanses to a side. After that lady came and spoke to me, that day monks wanted me to give a sermon to them, some advice to them in the monks' quarters. They didn't know about this incident. And then I said to them, when I started, monks, it shouldn't be me who should be sitting on this chair right now. That lady should be sat here and speaking of her life story. Because I have taken so much from her life that from now on, she's my hero. Because I don't think I'm ever going to get to the state of Sariputra Maharatan Wahanse. I realized the errors in my ways. I've been thinking he was my hero. I thought Mugalan Maharatan Wahanse was my hero. And I tried to become like them. Today I realize I've got a long way to go. I've got a very, very long way to go. So I've put them to a side. And today my hero, my heroine, is that lady who came and spoke to me. She's my hero. A few years after the marriage, after they started living together, they have a child, a baby boy. This child grows up seeing domestic violence at home. Parents, this is why you have to be very careful. Your children observe you and they take lessons from you. So don't tell your children of one day if they resort to domestic violence. If they learn that violence is how you beget violence, don't shout at them. Don't blame them. Your fault. Because that's what you taught them. This is why I say, parents, always be an example to your children. Never let wives run long at home. If the husband and the wife have an argument, take it to the bedroom. Don't let your children see it. Because they then grow up thinking, this is how you have to resolve issues. You shout. You have a fight. That's how you sort problems out. They're going to learn. Their minds are like sponges. Aren't they? You should know. They'll absorb everything they see, everything they hear, like a sponge. So be very careful. So anyway, this child grows up in a home where all he sees day and night is domestic violence. His dad turning up after work like a drunkard. Well, not like a drunkard, and then hitting his mum. He sees his mum crying. And before long, he starts to get pretty angry about this. He doesn't like this. Because he hears his mother, Puta, see what Tati is doing to me. I can't bear this pain. It's so painful. I haven't done anything wrong. But the young child is not powerful to do anything. But as he grows up, as he enters teenagehood, now his arms and legs have become strong. Now he decides, I'm going to take action against this. One day the mother hears the son saying, the next day I see Tati lift his arm to hit you, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. After several incidents like this son now, he develops spontaneous rage. Shanika Kope? You may have heard of this. Spontaneous rage. Tiny things, little things upsets him. Beyond imagination. Some of the things that this son has done at home. He's crashed the fish tank. He lifts it up and he throws it at the father. He's cut himself. These are things that this mother has to bear. So you need to put yourself in the shoes of this mother. The things that this child has done, try to do to himself and the father. So when the father comes home and shouts at the mother, what he does is he picks up a cricket bat and he comes running to the father. If you think that's bad, some days he runs to the kitchen and picks up the knife and comes running to the father. Says, let me at him. I'm going to stab him right now. It's the mother who's holding this son back. The mother standing between the father and the son, holding them two apart. While the father's kicking the mother, she's holding the son from attacking him. Because he realizes one stab of the knife, and where is he going to end up? But that's not the only reason. Because you think, hey, what a great mother, right? That's not the only reason. When the fight comes to an end, the mother takes the son to a side and says, Puta, I will not tolerate you saying anything to Tati. That is my husband. This is the man who works hard day and night. He's the breadwinner of our family. It's because of him that we get to eat 3 square meals every day. I will not tolerate you or anybody lifting a hand against him, saying one word against him. It was he who married me and looked after me and took care of me for all these years. Now put yourself in that situation. Can you begin to imagine, ladies and gentlemen, the kind of person this woman is, this lady is? What kind of mentality that is? Puta, I will not tolerate that. Don't you ever say anything to Tati. I don't like the way you use harsh words when you speak to him. Stop it. Because he is my husband. You have no right to speak to him like that. If you want to do so, get out of my house. You will not speak to my husband like that. Gratitude. Last week we spoke about gratitude, right? And how a lot of people complain. This guy is not nice to me. He is not good to me. She's not doing good by me. Look at this mother. Look at this wife. Despite all the attacks, all the abuse, what is she saying? You will not say one word to my husband. Because it's because of him I am today a married woman. It's because of him you have come into this world. It is because of him we are able to feed our hunger. See what great qualities there are. What great people there are in this world. How are you? What are you like? If that is not practical application of the Dhamma, tell me what is. And I haven't even still told you half the story. Time passes by. They give birth, the mother gives birth to another child. This time it's a daughter. This daughter again grows up, observing what goes on at home. Abuse, father abusing the mother, and the son, her brother, getting angry, rage, and how he crashes everything. He destroys the house, topples the whole home upside down, throwing things on the floor, breaking windows, breaking furniture up. This is what he does when he gets angry. This anger has got to such a state that he's now being given treatment. He needs treatment to bring down to reduce the rage when he feels it. It's that bad because he doesn't know what he's doing at that point in time. All this the mother has to bear on behalf of the family. Now see where you are. So that this daughter comes into the family, again growing up, witnessing all this that's going on in the family. Eventually she starts schooling. And she goes to a famous school in Kandy, and I'm not going to say the name of the college. She enters school in grade 1. So from grade 1 on, she's in this school. 5 years later, when she's in grade 5, the problems at home have worsened, and she can't do her studies, she can't do any of her work, there's no mental happiness at home anymore. She can't be at peace at home. So she requests her parents to put her into a boarding school. So there's boarding facilities at the school. Now, apparently at the school, the students who've been going to the school from grade 1, they run the school. But students who've come from scholarship exam, from grade 5, they run the boarding school. So, they are the boss there. At school, it's those children who've come from grade 1. But at boarding school, or where they take boarding facilities, there in those quarters, so that's where she would spend her time after school hours. It's the children who've come to school from grade 5 scholarship exams. Now, because she went to school from grade 1, apparently at that school, when in the boarding halls, they abused those children who've come from grade 1. She said, so I asked the daughter, Dua, tell me what are some of the things that you've had to face. And she says, sometimes. These people that I thought were my friends, who were in the same boarding halls as me, they would come and throw my books. They'd come and hide my books so I couldn't find them. Sometimes they would come and take all the clothes from my wardrobe, my school uniforms, and they would go and throw it in the garbage, in the dump pits. This is how they would abuse me. Now I want you all to think, how would you be able to face a situation like this? If your friends did something like that to you. At school, if your friends came and picked up your books and throw it all over the place, how would you act? How would you react? Would you fight back? Yes. Most of you would. But look at this girl. This abuse continues for a few years, a couple of years. And just before exams, she decides, enough is enough. I can't bear this pain anymore. I can't be at home because it's a hellhole there. And I can't be at school, in boarding school, because it's a hellhole here as well. So there's only one way to put a stop to this suffering. What does she decide to do? Suicide. Grade 9. So one day, in her room, she gets onto the sideboard of the bed, and using the mosquito net and the rope that is attached to it to tie to the ceiling, she puts a noose around her neck, and she makes a decision. She is determined now, I am going to put my life to an end. She jumps with the noose around her neck. Now, she's struggling for breath. She's suffocating. But she's able to make one loud scream which is heard by those who are passing by on the doorways. And they come running into the room. And then they bring this girl down. First attempt at suicide failed. First attempt at suicide. Not the only attempt. First attempt. Failed. She's taken back home. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, the conversation that the mother would have had to have with the school, with the principal? After that kind of event? When all the mother does at home is take beatings from the husband. Is trying to prevent the son from trying to kill his father. If this is the kind of environment that the mother has at home, and then having to come and meet with the principal, and then to hear that your child has tried to commit suicide, as a mother, how would you feel if that were to happen to you? How would you be able to bear that? Gentlemen, as a father, how would you be able to bear that? Beatings at home, attempted murder at home, and attempted suicide at your child's school. Can you imagine the state of mind this mother must be in at that time? When these events were unfolding in her life, one after the other, non-stop. Like a man being taken to the gallows and being whipped, one after the other, non-stop, whip after whip. Non-stop, these things are happening in this woman's life. When she's relating this story, now she took about an hour to tell me this part of it. And I'm observing her and I'm looking at her thinking, now she's going to cry. Now she's going to cry. You know what? Because when people relate stories, they feel sorry for themselves, right? When you tell your friends about a tough time, a bad time, a hard time you've had, usually that you break up into tears, don't you? So I'm expecting her to break up into tears. Nothing. All I can see is a smile on her face. So that was the first attempt at suicide at school. The child is taken home. A few months pass. This brother has become even more ferocious. He's become even more violent. And one fine day, some kind of problem happens at home. The brother's really mad now. And what he does is, he kicks the sister. She goes running into her bedroom. The mother's now trying to put out the problem, to put out the fire that's taking place in the living room where the son is trying to kill the father. And just as soon as she's sorted that problem, she goes looking for the daughter just to see if she's hurt. And what does the mother see when she goes into the daughter's bedroom? Another noose around her neck. Can you imagine? A noose is what you put around your neck to hang. It's a rope. So you tie it around, you put it around your neck, and you put it. Don't do this at home. Caution, disclaimer, don't try this at home. So a noose is something you use to commit suicide. Do you know what suicide is? Taking your own life. So this is what the mother sees as she walks into the daughter's bedroom. And I'm waiting for the mother to tell me what she did next. And she tells me. She said, Swamin Wahanse, I walked up to my daughter very calmly, collected, not disturbed. And she spoke to her daughter, Puta, what are you doing? Come on, let me take that noose from around your neck. What are you trying to do? What a foolish thing this is to do. She is not screaming, she is not yelling, she is not crying, she is not pulling her hairs out. I asked her, how were you able to do that? She says, well, we're all going to die one day, Swamin Wahanse. We're all going to die one day. I can't stop her from dying. She's going to die someday. All I need to do is prepare myself for her death. I know that she has great potential. That one day, just like me, she will walk the path of Dhamma. And one day she will be able to realize this Dhamma. So there's a lot of use that can be made out of this life. So I realize that it's a waste of life here. But I'm not angry, I'm not sad, I'm not crying that it's my daughter who's trying to hang herself. She's just another person that's come into my life. That's all. She tells me, if I cried, if that made me lose my mind, what have I taken from the Dhamma, Swamin Wahanse? She says, if I was angry, if I was upset, if I started crying at that point in time, I would have been the greatest insult to the Dhamma. That would have been the greatest insult to Guru Swamin Wahanse. I am not prepared to do that. Here's a mother who's talking about a daughter who's just tried to commit suicide. If you find your children in that state, parents, how would you feel today? Would you have the courage to be a woman like that? To be the mother like that? This is why I say, put Arahatun Wahanse to a side. No longer is Sariputra Maharatan Wahanse my hero, because I can't reach that. She's my hero. Wow. Simply amazing. How can a man get to that state of mind where you can go and witness your daughter's attempted suicide and not be flustered by it? Not lose your mind at that situation? So she helps the daughter down, gets her to sit down, asks her, Puta, can I get you a cup of tea or perhaps a water just to make you feel comfortable? Why didn't you take a rest? I'll come back and talk to you later. Don't do these silly things. It's useless, pointless. Can you imagine? And relating all that, not one tear in her eye, which tells me this is completely genuine. Everything she's relating, absolutely true. And these are true recollections of how she faced those situations in her life. So, one of the other reasons why the daughter tried to commit suicide at school was because her friends used to say, you're fat. Apparently one day a teacher had said, Puta, you shouldn't eat like this, okay? Because you're gonna grow fat and no one's gonna marry you one day. Teacher. This is a teacher trying to instill confidence in the child. Puta, don't eat like that. One day, no man is going to want to marry you. Now you think your children are safe at school? The very teachers you trust to protect your children, to build self-confidence in them. This is why I say, ladies and gentlemen, there is no protection other than the only protection, which is the protection of the Dhamma. Nothing else. Nothing else. Do you remember Ahinsaka's teacher? How his mind was corrupted after Ahinsaka's friends went and said rumors about him with his teacher. See? Because all of this is drushti. All these drushti, views, distorted views. And all that is required for someone to direct their course of action in life from this point forward is the view, that drushti, to settle in their minds. That's all. That was the other reason why this child wanted to commit suicide. Because the teacher had said, look at you, Pulta. If you're going to eat like this, one day you're going to be like a baby elephant, then no one's going to get married to you. You're not going to be able to have children. Is that the kind of life you want to lead? Parents, think. Are your children safe? Have you given them the insurance to realize that there's nothing worth having in the rupa? This physical figure is not worth clinging on to. Whether I look like a baby elephant or a baby monkey, it doesn't really matter. What is the point of this rupa anyway? It's just a body that I have to help me walk this path of Dhamma so I can fulfill my path. That's all this is. So who cares whether I'm fat? Who cares whether I'm black or white? Who cares? But to have that self-confidence, to be able to know that that is the case, you have to have given them the Dhamma. Otherwise to them, whatever the world comes and says, whatever friends, family, teachers, they'll come and say, your child will take as gospel truth. Because they're innocent. Sponges. This is why they need the protection of the Dhamma. So this is why the mother brought the child to me. Really, the reason that the mother came to me was not to find a solution to her problem. She came to me and she said, Swamin Hansa, please could you talk to my daughter? Whenever she sees a train, she wants to go and jump in front of it. Now she can't, she doesn't trust the daughter to send her at least to tuition class. Because she doesn't know what the child might commit. When the child might go and commit suicide. Again, the mother realizes, well, she's going to go when she's going to go. But the mother also realizes that this child has great potential. She needs to realize the value of human life. There was only one time when I saw a tear in this mother's eye. Do you want to know when? Let me tell you. So I sat this girl down, 15-year-old girl. This is why I say, I thought I knew life. I thought I had understood life when I was a layperson. I didn't realize how little I knew after I became a monk. It makes me feel so happy that today I'm able to touch people's lives in this way. To help a 15-year-old girl who wants to commit suicide, to help them realize the value of human life. I feel so blessed to be able to touch people's lives in this way. If I was a layperson, they wouldn't have come and spoken to me. Today I'm able to give people the gift of Dhamma. So I spoke to that 15-year-old girl and said, Dua, do you realize what you've got today? I told her, I came here looking for a baby elephant and I couldn't find one. Why do you think you're fat? Because if you were fat, I should have been able to spot you right after I came into the Dhamma hall. But I didn't. So there's nothing wrong with you. She's not any more fat than any of you are. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with her. But look, the drushti that's gone into her mind, that's all it takes. One drushti. And where does it end? Suicide. Do you see how dangerous this is, ladies and gentlemen? Not giving the Dhamma. So after I spoke with her and I explained to her, this is what you need to use your life for. You have a mother who is, I can't begin to explain how fortunate you are to have a mother like this, who in the face of all these problems, in the face of all these challenges, how she's been able to be strong and face them, unshaken, unwavering. Look at her. And despite all this, how she still goes and speaks to her son and says, Puta, do not lift an arm to hit Tati. Don't say a word to Tati. Do you realize what a great woman this is? And I'm talking to the daughter. And I said, Dua, know it because I'm telling you now. If you continue to be with your mother, learn what she has to say. She says, Swamin Wahansa, despite all this, I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning so I can listen to sermons before my husband wakes up. Because he doesn't like me listening to Bana. She wakes at 2 in the morning and listen to a sermon for till about 4 o'clock in the morning. At 4 o'clock the husband wakes up and he has to have his tea ready at the perfect temperature. Can't be too hot, can't be too cold. Otherwise, it's kicks and slaps. So she doesn't want a morning slap treatment. Therefore, she makes sure that she's 4 o'clock, tea is ready for her husband. So she wakes up at 2. She goes to bed after everyone's gone to bed. Oh, there was one more thing I forgot to say. What I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is to realize the nature of the Sasara Ganudinu that's going on here. Sansaric debts that are being repaid. It's not to feel sorry for the lady. It's to realize what kind of things this lady must have done to them to deserve what she's receiving today. These are all the fruits that she's reaping of the seeds that she sowed. And she knows this for a fact. She says it, I think every 10 minutes she said, Mama karagatta deva. I have done this to myself. No one's to blame. I know that 100% I've done this to myself. So who am I to blame, Swami? She asks me, who am I to blame? I've done this to myself. Apparently this man has a habit of going to toilet in the living room. He has a habit of going to the toilet in the middle of the living room. So this is how he goes to the toilet. He goes in the middle of the living room, he pulls down his pants and goes to the toilet. One day the wife thought, what are you doing here? What are you doing? There's the toilet, go to the toilet. What do you think she received in return? Slaps and kicks. How dare you, you know the word, you speak to me like that? So then she decided, I'm not going to say anything to you. What she does now, even today, that's what the husband does. He goes to the toilet in the middle of the house, not in the toilet, in the living room. What the wife does is, she waits for the husband to do his thing, and then she takes a bucket, water and a mop. She goes and cleans the thing up. And then just in case he wants to do a number one, she's also left her a pail, a bucket, and he's asked the husband, if you wouldn't mind, as a favor, instead of peeing on the floor, could you please pee into the bucket and then I'll go and empty the bucket and bring it back? As a favor for me, would you mind doing that? And what a great husband he is. He's agreed to that. What a great man. He's agreed to that. So he goes to the toilet in the middle of the house. Who has to clean? The wife cleans. Yes. The story doesn't end there. Again, I want you to see where you are on this path. Put yourself into these situations, ladies and gentlemen, and see how you react. If your husband, if your son, if your daughter, if your wife, if your mother or your father, bedridden, goes to the toilet on the bed, how do you feel about that? Do you feel disgusted? Do you go, how dare you, Tati, going to the toilet on the bed? See, I have to clean this up now. Why can't you go to the toilet? Why did you just ask me to come at least to go to the toilet? Is this how you speak to your parents? Gratitude. Because despite all this, the wife thinks to herself, this is the man who feeds me. This is the man who takes care of me. There's nothing wrong with her. A 40, 43-year-old lady. She's not an old woman. A 40 or 43-year-old lady. And she's good looking. She could well go and get into another relationship, get married again. No problems. Apparently her relatives continue to ask her, what are you doing? Are you mad? Go and get married to another man and they'll treat you like a queen. But she says, no. This is the man that got married to me. I promised him to be his wife till the day we part. He feeds me. He looks after me. He takes care of me. I cannot forsake him. I will not do that. Do you see the greatness of those qualities? Put yourself into these situations, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I say, she is now my hero. I am proud to say that. She is my hero. This is a lay woman. She is my hero. I want to be like her. I have put Sariputta Maharatan Vahanse to a side. I have asked Mahamugalan Maharatan Vahanse to retire from being my hero. I can't reach for those stars. At least if I can be like this woman, she's my hero. The husband's father used to live at home. You can see where this is going, right? The husband's father used to live at home. And even when he was alive and around, he never wanted to do any meritorious deeds. He was very stingy. He didn't spend on anything. All he wanted was to acquire wealth, build up wealth and property. Being very stingy, he didn't, this woman tells me sometimes a beggar might come and knock on the door, and he used to walk out the rear door pretending there's no one at home. That's how stingy he was. Never wanted to go to the temple, offer flowers, give a meal to somebody, nothing, absolutely nothing. 2 months ago he passed away. Where do you think he ended up? Hell, but at home. Now he's a spirit. In his bedroom. Every time the woman goes home, as she enters home, she says, the foul smell everywhere. The smell of feces everywhere. So she spends all day cleaning her house. Because otherwise, she can't even ask someone to come home. And what does the husband do? When he comes home, what's that smell? You know the word, you can fill in the blank. And then, slap treatment and kick treatment. Clean it. But the spirit of the husband's father, nobody else, it's the husband's father, who now has taken over that home, and now he's spending time in this house as a dead spirit. And now, about 3-4 weeks ago, this spirit has entered this woman's body, the mother's. And when that happens, the person doesn't know what they do to them. Because now it's the spirit that's doing all the things, whatever. Whether it's words they say or the things they do, it's the spirit that has now taken over. So what this woman then started to do is, when the spirit has took over, she started to bang her head on walls, on furniture, with her arms, beating herself up, pulling her hair. And also, she says, because they'd recorded this woman looks at the son and goes, I've come to take you. You're mine. I've come to take you. So who's this grandfather now after? The son. Not his son, the grandson. This woman's son. That's who this spirit is after. And then they'd gone to, I don't know who's a kattariya. How do you speak in English? Anyone know the word? I should have done my research before I came here. Exorcist. Yes, thank you. They'd gone to an exorcist. And so they'd looked into what the spirit was after and realized that actually what he wanted was 2 chickens. 2 alive chickens. Because that's what he's come looking for. 2 alive chickens. He doesn't want merit. He doesn't want them going and offering a dana to the temple and passing on merits. No, he's not interested in any of that. He wants a sacrifice. Of what? Chickens. Live chickens. The woman realizes, no. Not over my dead body. You can kill me if you like, but I am not going to take another animal's life. Do you see how much the Dhamma has been instilled in this person's mind? If this were to happen to you, ladies and gentlemen, would you think twice? I mean, it's only a chicken. It's just a chicken. Who's the chicken going to complain to? Its father? The police? File a law case against you? No, it's just a chicken. You wouldn't think twice. You ask for 2, I'll give you 4. But not this woman. She realizes, I have taken over enough of the bad deeds that I've done. There's plenty of bad deeds and these sansaric debts that are on my shoulders. I am not going to be responsible for any more. I want this birth to be my last. And for that, I do everything I have to do. I am not going to make any sacrifices. You can haunt me if you like. You can make me hit myself if you want. You can make me pull all my hair out of my head if you want. But, oh dear grandfather, you are not going to get me to kill any living beings. I'm not prepared to do that. Look at the resolve in that mind. Look at the determination in that mind. Look at how much the Dhamma has touched that life. But are you like that? If it's your children, and if your child becomes possessed with a spirit, and you go to the exorcist and they say, well, the child needs to be given a sacrifice. Well, it's not the child, but the spirit that has possessed this child needs a sacrifice. And it has to be a goat. Does this not happen? No, go online and watch videos on YouTube. Plenty of it. Many hundreds of thousands of animals killed every day as sacrifice. Killing is wrong. Full stop. I don't care what people say, but killing is wrong. Full stop. If this were to happen to your child mothers, if this were to happen to your child fathers, what would you do? If a goat had to be sacrificed to save your child's life, your child wants to commit suicide, and the spirit that has been possessed asks for us a goat to be sacrificed, would you think twice about it? This mother, somehow they went through some kind of offering, not life, but some other offering, maybe merits or something, and they were able to remove the spirit from her. But that wasn't the end of the story. This spirit then went on to possess the son. And again, the spirit comes back asking, if you want me to let go of this possession, what did I ask for? Life. Give me life and I'll go. If this were to happen to you, parents, would you think twice? Imagine your son cutting himself up. When he picks up a knife running after the father, I'm going to kill you. Running after the father with a knife. All because he's possessed. Rage. So much anger. Throwing things on the floor. Banging his head everywhere. Rolling on the floor. Screaming and yelling and shouting. Imagine what the neighbors on either side must be thinking. Can you imagine that? All these fights at home. And what might the neighbors be thinking? All that defame that must be coming to this mother. You know how people in Pretty much most Asian countries are like, right? Gyani Geheti. Most people, they blame the woman. Because you should know how to bring up a family. Most people are like that. But she tolerates all this. She says, not me. I'm not prepared to kill any animal. Even if my son decides to go and commit suicide, no, not me. I'm not going to stop it. I'll try and stop it how I can, but not by doing an unwholesome deed. I will not take anybody's life. Giving me all this story, no tears in her eyes, except for that one time. I spoke to the daughter for about another couple of hours. And then continuously I reassured her. I kept asking her, Dua, how do you feel now? Do you still feel like life is not worth living? Do you still feel like you want to go and commit suicide? Do you begin to at least begin to understand the value of human life? And gradually she begins to give some positive answers. She says, Swami knows, I'm beginning to understand that going and hanging myself, jumping in front of a train is not the answer. I realize that I'm so fortunate to have a mother like this. I explained to her how fortunate she is to have a father like the father that she does. Is it not because of that father that today she's born into this world, she's come into this world, and she's been born not handicapped? If it were another father, perhaps she might have been born handicapped, without an arm or a leg. Is it not thanks to the father she has this opportunity? She knows that my father is not going to be around for much longer because he's got an oral cancer. She knows if that drinking habit continues, this father is not going to be around for much longer. I said, Dua, while your father is still around, you have ample opportunity to earn heaps of merit. What I want you to do today after you go home is say, Tati, I realize how fortunate I am to have a father like you. From today onwards, whenever your father comes home, take him a cup of tea. Give him a glass of water. No matter what he says, do not speak a word against him. And she realizes why that is the case. She begins to understand the value of parents after our conversation. And then finally, I asked the daughter, so Dua, how do you feel now? What do you think your purpose in life is? She says, Swami Nuansa, having listened to you, I now realize that the reason I came into this world, to be born to a mother like this, is probably because I can make this my last birth. I look at the mother and there's a tear in her eye. The mother brings her hands together and says, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. A mother that didn't cry even when the daughter decided to commit suicide. This happiness that has come, this joy, this rapture that comes in her heart, because the daughter says, Mother, for all the sacrifice you have done on my behalf. The daughter realizes the reason that the mother doesn't fight back with the father is because of me and Ayya. If the mother were to fight back, life would be very different at home. She's now got a hero. She says, Mother, for all the sacrifice you've done for me, I now begin to realize how much I owe you in return. I know that there is nothing else you expect from me. The mother says, Dua, I don't expect you to get married. I don't expect you to pass your A-levels, O-levels. I don't expect any of that. Be a good person. Be able to stand up courageously in the face of situations like this. I didn't expect this in my young life when I went and got married. Puta, what if this happens to you? Will you be able to tolerate it like Amma does? Mother's asking the daughter. And the daughter says, Amma, you've been such a hero in my life. For all that sacrifice you've done for me, I will give you the one thing you expect in return. I will make this my last life. The one time when I saw tears in that mother's eyes. That is my hero. She's my hero. You have problems too, right? Life is mean to you, right? People are so cruel to you, aren't they? Life is not fair, is it? To you? Where are we compared to where she is? In my mind, after having said all that, just before she leaves, she asks me one question that completely threw me off. It sent a shiver down my spine. She said, Swamin Wahansa, I don't know, this is why I'm asking you. All this I related to you, my only protection is the Dhamma. Whenever I have to face these situations, I reflect on the Dhamma, I reflect on what Guru Swamin Wahansa says, that advice he gives in his teachings. The Dhamma is my savior, the Dhamma is my protector. She's asking me, Swamin Wahansa, I'm not sure, but is there any chance that I might be a Sotapanna? Is there just a slightest chance that maybe I'm a Sotapanna? Just so I can pay my debt to Guru Swamin Wahansa for all the sermons that he's been delivering over these many years. For all the men and women who go through so much effort to propagate this Dhamma. People like yourselves. She wants to pay her dues to you. She asked me, is there any chance that I might be a Sotapanna? It's okay if you say no, Swamin Wahansa. I'll keep trying. I'll keep listening to these sermons. If there's anything wrong in the way I listen to the Dhamma, if there's anything wrong in the way I practice the Dhamma, please teach me, Swamin Wahansa. Please guide me. Where do we think we are, ladies and gentlemen? How highly do we think of ourselves? How much ego do we have in ourselves? Here's a woman who's living in a hellhole at home, and she comes to me and says, I'm not sure. If there's something wrong in the way I practice the Dhamma, please teach me, because I want to become a Sotapanna. Such humility, such humbleness, that is the true test of Dhamma. Making offerings to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha is not offering flowers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going and lighting 100,000 oil lamps. It's not lighting incense sticks or offering dana. That is all part of it, but a very small part of it. What is the biggest payback that you can give to the Buddha? It's your practice. It's becoming an example that his Dhamma works. It's becoming a model. Are you of such character that if someone were to approach the Buddha and challenge him, Bhavat Gautama, I'm not sure that your Dhamma works. I think it's just a load of rubbish. If someone were to challenge the Buddha, are you of such character that the Buddha can point his arm at you and go, no, look at him. Look at her. One of my disciples, one of my students, someone who practices the Dhamma. Throw anything at him, throw anything at her. He's going to be unwavering, unshakable. Try and make him angry if you can. Try and make her cry if you can. Try and upset this person if you can. Have you become a person of such character? I don't know, to me, if Tathagata Wahanse were here today, he wouldn't look at me as an example. He would look at that lady. The Buddha that I know would point at that lady and go, he would address me, Monk, how dare you sit on that seat? Look at that monk, look at that lady who was sat by your feet. Are you anywhere close? That is the greatest payback. That is the greatest reward that we can give to the Buddha, to the Dhamma and the Sangha. Ask yourselves where you are. This Dhamma has to be practical, ladies and gentlemen. It's not memorizing it, it's not knowledge, it's not knowing. It has to be practical. In the face of these problems, in the face of challenges, when people throw stones at you, rocks at you, either literally or metaphorically, you have to be able to face them with the same peacefulness and calm in mind, as if they would throw at you praise and honor. They have to be acceptable in equal fashion, in the same manner. Where are we? Where are you? Ask yourself. This is why I keep saying every day, if this Dhamma is not practical in your lives, all you've been doing is coming along, listening to some sermons, remembering them, and going back. You might as well have sent me some exercise books and not turned up yourselves, because that would be a waste of time. These sermons, we'll record them, we'll write them down on exercise books, and then send them back to you, and you can keep it on your shelves. Or instead of you coming here, just send some recorders, voice recorders, and we'll record them and you can keep it on your shelves. Terabytes of data will continue to accrue, but you have not become any different. You have not changed one bit. What is the point? This is a lady that lives in Kandy. She doesn't get to come and visit the monastery. She hasn't seen Guru Swamin Wahanse even once. That was the first time she came and saw me. Even that day she didn't get to meet Guru Swamin Wahanse. But she was just simply overjoyed that she was able to meet one of us. But think about yourselves. You get to come here whenever you like. You get to come and listen to sermons every week. She has to wake up at 2 a.m. to listen to sermons, because she has to press the stop button at 4. Otherwise, it's war at home. The greatest story that I take from that, for me, the most important, the most powerful part of that story is not how she was tolerating all the physical abuse or the mental strains and stresses. What I took away, the greatest takeaway from me, is when she says to her son, Puta, do not say a word to my husband. He is the breadwinner of our family. It is because of him that today you are able to eat. It is because of him today you have a father. It's because of him today I have a husband who looks after me. Do not speak up a word. Do you see how much she is able to see the qualities, the great qualities in other people? What a great person that is, ladies and gentlemen. Are we like that? How soon, how quickly, how easily do we forget the good things that other people have done to us? One mistake and you've forgotten all the good things that people have done to you. All you remember is that one thing that they did to hurt your feelings. That's all you remember. All the good they've done, forgotten. Like a flash. For us to be listening to these sermons and still be like that, I think we are the biggest hypocrites ever. Kuhakeo. Don't be a hypocrite. Put it into action. What you've taken, what you take away from these sermons, put into action. Apply it into your lives and transform your lives. If you don't transform your lives, you might as well have sent some textbooks. We'll print these sermons in nice bold colors and letters and then send it to you and you can put it on your shelves. But you have not changed one bit. I'm not telling you off, by the way, okay? I'm just saying, think about this. If you have not changed one bit, then all this effort is pointless, in vain.